Hello GitHub students! This is going to be our third challenge as a part of the GIMM Dev League. We just finished up the second one, as you guys were probably aware, and we are going to talk about today the synopsis and all of the requirements for the third. Our third challenge is going to be prototyping our applications in Unity. So there are going to be three big parts of this project, and the first one is going to be GitHub. This will be instructed through our tutorials here, and you will also be walked through it when you meet with your actual coordinators here on GIMM. GitHub is a way to set up working on your projects as a team. It'll be a way that we can also access your projects if we need to help out and work on them. So there will be a tutorial, and a lot of the advisement can come in meetings with our coordinators here at GIMM. After that will be the big part. This is going to be prototyping, and I have the blurbs here from the rubric provided by Danielle at GitHub Idaho so that you guys get a pretty good idea of what we're requiring for the prototype. The thing is with prototypes is that this is going to be very subjective depending on your applications and what you guys were doing individually as your schools, but these are going to be the general requirements. In Challenge 3, you will work to create a working prototype in Unity. A prototype is a first, typical, or preliminary model of something from which other forms are developed or copied. So in this case, you will be making a prototype of your app and the ideas that you pitched and put in your wireframe. The prototype is not a final product. It is a first draft of your app that will help you identify missing components, analyze the functionality, and give you a glimpse of what your completed app will look like. So here's some goals that we laid out for you. You will have to create a mostly working or presentable app through Unity, and it will work through Android. I know some of you might be doing something differently, but as for right now, I think most of you are going to be doing Android. You will need to finish 60% of your visual assets, so all of your models, buttons, like all of your drawings, everything that is going to be put in for the visuals of your game or your app, those need to be 60% done. You need to ensure that the core functionality of your app is working, so switching between pages, having some buttons, actually getting that loop going, your core loop, and you need to complete 75% of what you proposed in the wireframe. So I know a prototype is a first draft, but you need to have a lot of it done this time around. This is going to be kind of the big push where you get most of your development done, and as such, you will have more time to complete this challenge compared to the others. And then in the end, you will need to create a presentation, but we'll talk about that on a different slide. As I mentioned here, you will have a presentation section where you will actually assemble probably a PowerPoint or a slide document presenting your app so that you can actually showcase this to people who are willing to see it. So we have our YouTube channel. This is where all of our tutorials are going to be up. A lot of these are going to be very useful for this part of the assignment specifically. So we will have a GitHub Setup tutorial. That one is going to be posted very soon, within the next few days, so that you can actually go through and set up your project through GitHub and give us access to it so that we can help you out. And then there's a UI tutorial setting up your UI in Unity that was made by one of our devs here that's going to walk you through how to do your buttons and such. And then Android for Unity, or exporting to .exe, which is going to be part of the requirements for this. That is our Unity mobile development tutorial that you see over there to the right. That is going to be very helpful for actually exporting the final build of your Android app. So there will be many other tutorials that will be recorded and that already exist on this YouTube channel that will help out with the development of this project. There are many coding tutorials. If you go through, there should be some playlists on our YouTube channel that will help out with that, as well as things that we will post as the need arises for you guys. So to go over the submission guidelines that were on that rubric yet again, there is first going to be the GitHub. So your team needs to set up a GitHub, and you'll reach out to us for help with that so that we can have access to it. And then you will also, in addition to this, so that you can showcase your assets, you will set up a folder in your DevLeague drive to house all of your assets that you've completed thus far, and that'll be approximately 60%. So this will be image files, videos if you have an animation, and just everything that you've completed so far on the visual side of things. This will be part 2 of our submission. This is our prototype. This is going to be the biggest piece that you are submitting to us today. It's going to have all the requirements that we talked about prior, having 75% completion for what you proposed in your wireframe. So you will need to produce a build of your app. So that is an exe file, an executable. And we do have a tutorial for doing that with an Android build in Unity, as I mentioned prior to this. Part 3 is going to be your presentation section. This is going to be important because a lot of people are going to want to see what you're doing. A lot of people want to see what you're working on. So for your presentation, it's to educate your community about the problem you identified and the solution you're creating to address it. It should include slides, narration, and be recorded for the scoring panel to view. So your components of your actual presentations should include these things below. the name of your app, the purpose of your app, the intended audience, how it will function, a justification of your style choices, how your team will divide up the work, what steps you'll take next, and showcase everything. I know this isn't listed here, but showcase everything that you've worked on so far. And then you'll have a short reflection on the things that you've learned throughout the process. And then this last requirement on this list, it's not necessarily going to be included in the presentation, but we would like a list of features you have added and features that are still in development for this project. So that is going to be all of our requirements. I know this is going to be a more difficult challenge of everything that we've done so far, so we will be there to answer any questions and help with any issues you may run into. But start working on it early because you are going to tackle and encounter problems way more than you expect, trust me. But we're here to help with it, so go ahead and get started with it. Good luck with it, and we'll be there to help.